Welcome to the Michael Mercy YouTube channel, an 80s nostalgia channel for adults to revisit the golden age of heroes. This is not a children's channel. Kids under the age of 13 should only watch these videos with their parents. Nerdmaste!
Hey good brothers and good sisters, and another Transformers review for you. And we took a look at this one at my Big Bad Toy Store sale video a while back. And I wanted to take an in-depth look at him today. He is one of the little mini Power of the Primes Prime Masters. It's Vector Prime, and he is currently on sale at Big Bad Toy Store for just about $2 for the Hasbro version. They also have the Takara version for about $3, just $1 more. Looks almost exactly the same. The only difference is maybe the shade of blue on the guy. But these are really cool little tiny mini figures that you can get to act as drivers for, well, some of your Transformers. And once I open him up, I'm going to show you how he fits in this wind charger, which I reviewed a while back. But in addition to being a driver, it's actually really cool that you can have a mini version, at least, of some of the rarer Pretenders that were released late in the G1 line. So here's a look at the packaging. Even on such a little guy, they've given him custom card art, which looks fantastic. Really beautiful toy artistry right there. And on the back, we get a look at what he can do. He can actually transform into a gun, so he's a Targetmaster. And there's his Pretender shell, mini robot inside. So they're calling this guy Vector Prime. He was originally called, or this is inspired by, a Transformer called Metal Hawk, which was released in 1988 in Japan only, never released in North America. So I always wanted a Metal Hawk, but never released here, pretty pricey. So it's cool to at least be able to get some representation of him, miniature form. So let's open him up. So the package includes the Pretender shell, the actual Vector Prime figure, the gun barrel, and some instructions. It's not all that complicated. But here is the Pretender shell for, it'll always be a Pretender shell to me, for Vector Prime. And let's see, it's pretty easy to open. You just put your thumb on his head and you pull down, which opens up the shell. I like this. This is an improvement, even though this is a little mini guy. This is an improvement over the original Pretenders. I think the original ones should have opened like this so that they're still connected. The original ones just open up into two separate shell pieces. So you can take the Vector Prime figure and just slide him in there. And this is also nice. There's actually tabs that guide him in so that he's not rattling around. And you just feed his legs in like that. He's nice and secure. Close them back up. And here's another really cool little feature, little detail. You can see his face in there. That's another thing that I wish the original Pretenders had had. I guess it takes away some of the mystery of the concept of the G1 Pretenders. Being able to see the robot's face inside. He's not really disguised, but this is awesome. If he was bigger, that would be really, really cool, like a powered-up suit. So the gun barrel can be attached to the Pretender shell. All you got to do, I find it's easier to attach it like this rather than pushing it in like that. So if you just extend it like that, it'll sit against his shoulders while you just pop it in. And it's nice and sturdy. So you can have him either pointing it up, and he's got like a supercharged cannon, above his head, or swing it down like that and store the cannon on his back. He's so tiny. The little mini robot inside is similar to a G1 Headmaster, but he's actually got more articulation than those guys did. He's got the same type of sitting position with the legs, the knees bend all the way back and forward too. The arms, like a G1 Headmaster, can go forward and back and out a little bit. So just on a slight ball joint, pops off pretty easily, but that's cool that they come out a little bit. And then the head is articulated, which is really amazing for such a teeny tiny figure, that he can look around, and that for Transformers that don't have a lot of articulation, that can do a lot, just being able to look left and right. And then for the shell, same articulation as a G1 Pretender. Arms, do a 360, that's it. So to transform this guy into gun mode, all I got to do is push the gun like so, the barrel like so. This is the handle right here. So you can swing that up for larger Transformers to hold. And then there's a space right here which this guy transforms and he plugs into. So he's kind of like a powermaster for a Targetmaster. It's, you know, onto a Pretender. It's wild, all of the gimmicks that are blending together here. This is a Pretender that's actually a Targetmaster that's powered by a powermaster. So this tab right here will feed into this hole right there. His head will rest in this groove right here. And you should be able, straighten his head out, you should be able to just pop him in there and you'll hear a click when he is secure or not. Sometimes you hear a click, sometimes you don't. But he's secure in there. He's not going to fall out. And popping him out is pretty easy too. There you go. There was the click that time. And that's your Targetmaster right here. That's a pretty wild concept. A Targetmaster powered by, it'll always be a powermaster to me. And the peg on it is the same size as all of the pegs that they used for the G1 Transformers. So you can actually have your G1 Optimus Prime or the G1 Pretenders use this gun as a Targetmaster. And that would be really cool if you had the G1 Metal Hawk shell. You could give him this guy as a Targetmaster. Sometimes there's a clash of styles, meshing the modern stuff with the G1 vintage stuff. But I like how these modern Targetmaster type of guns look with the G1 Pretenders. They're so big and bulky looking, the guns don't really cut it that they come with, kind of small. So I like having something like a big beefed up, souped up gun like that to add to one of the originals. And you can use the little guy as a driver for some of these other Power of the Primes vehicles. And you'll probably need to push his arms forward to get him to sit all the way down. Makes him kind of look like he's gripping an invisible steering wheel too. And close this guy back up. You got a little driver in there. It's hard to see in Wind Charger since he's got smoked glass, but got the little Vector Prime guy in there. And just to give you a couple of size comparisons with this guy, because he is so tiny. Let's compare him to world's smallest Transformers Optimus Prime. So you could use this guy in a different scale if you wanted to. If you don't have a lot of space, you could use him in like this world's smallest transformer scale, and this could be Metal Hawk with a G1 Optimus Prime. And the thing that's nice about these particular guys is if you want some cool accessory bots to go with some of your G1 combiners, I think they look really nice with some of these G1 giants. So you could have your Pretender mode, Vector Prime, Metal Hawk, displayed alongside Superion and Omega Supreme, G1 Omega. So instead of being like a really teeny tiny miniature guy, he could be full-sized alongside some of these giants. And one more size comparison with a G1 Headmaster. That's Spike right there. And he is really tiny next to a Spike, a little more than half the size of him. Kind of the same coloration. But that is Vector Prime from the Power of the Primes line. For such a tiny, affordable little guy, he's got a lot of options. So he can be miniature Pretender for a world's smallest Transformers scale, or he can be a driver for some of your other Transformers, or die-cast cars. Perfect little guy to fit in a little small to be a 1/24th scale, but he could fit in a whole bunch of other little die-cast cars. Or he could be a gun, which is actually compatible with a lot of the G1 guns. Another thing that's really nice about the gun handle design on this guy is that there isn't a lot of stock that'll get in the way. Sometimes Transformers can't hold their own guns because there's extra part here that keeps going out and blocks. But this guy right here just will fit perfectly into most Transformer fists. Not this one, because this is a KO. And the tolerances, the sizes are just a little bit off. But he will fit perfectly in most G1 Transformers. And he's tiny enough to easily fit in a G1 Pretender. No problem whatsoever, but you do get that rattling around in there. So, really cool little guy. I wasn't expecting much for $2, but that's awesome. I was just going to display him on the bottom shelf of my G1 Transformers collection alongside some of the giants to make them look even bigger, like Scorponok and Omega Supreme, Predaking. But I'm actually really impressed with his Targetmaster mode. The only issue is getting him out. It's kind of hard to... There isn't any real place to grip him to pull him out, but I do love his Targetmaster mode, and I think I'm just going to keep him as a Targetmaster, probably for one of the G1 Pretenders. So that is Vector Prime, now on sale at Big Bad Toy Store for a great deal. Oh, and the last thing I noticed, he's got holes in his fists. Really tiny ones. So first thing I thought was G1 Constructicon guns, which are a little loose. They're not going to fit right, but he does come with his own gun, actually. It's this one that he holds on his back. It's got a little post right there, and it feeds right into his fist. So This is a really versatile little dude with lots of options. And he can even stand pretty securely with this thing. You would think he'd be incredibly front heavy, but really good weight distribution here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a thought in the comment spot, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Till all are fun.